We're live? Got a hot mic?
We are.
All right. Thank you for joining us for the East Aurora Village Board meeting for December 2nd, 2024. If you could please join me in the pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please, Melanie?
Trustee Lizikis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron. Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Flynn. Trustee Raby. Trustee Shear.
Here.
And Mayor McCurry.
Present. Thank you. We have a quorum. I get a motion to approve the minutes of the village board meeting for November 18, 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Grace. Second?
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve the payment of abstract 2024-2025 fiscal year for voucher numbers 65476 to 65516 for a total of $159,648.89?
So moved.
Moved by Ernie. Second?
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. This is our first speakers and communications. If you'd like to talk, please keep it under 2 or 3 minutes. Raise your hand. When acknowledged, come on up, tell us your name and address. You will have a second opportunity for speakers and communications near the end of the meeting. Would anyone like to speak on anything? Hello.
Evening.
Good evening.
I'm Michelle Biella. I reside at 370 South Park Place, east in the village. I just wanted to know if tonight there will be an update on the tree project, and saw them working on Sycamore today. So an update would be appreciated. And then I wondered if the Environmental Stewardship Committee is still meeting. Because when you go to the website, there's really nothing there. So those are my questions for tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shelby. I would like to touch on the tree issue with gun net speed we could do it during old business since we've already been talking about it. That works. And do you want to look into the environmental committee? Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Harvey? You want to speak on something or? Okay, you'll be up in a little bit. You're D, so we'll get you, brother.
Good evening. I'm Kurt Colopy, 365 South Grove Street. I was here at the meeting last time and heard some of the information about the TASER grant and the TASER purchase that's proposed. And I know there was going to be some, I'll say, research and comments by people on the board, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. I'm not convinced that it's, that we should automatically do something just because somebody sends us $55,000 to pay for tasers. And and I don't think the reason that everybody else in Erie County has them is a good reason to have them either. It's sort of interesting that the academic institutions, the police forces there don't have them. So I'll leave it at that and wait to hear from you all.
Thank you, Kurt. Anyone else? Okay, that closes our first speakers and communications. No public hearings on the agenda. Moving on to official considerations. I, Mayor Peter Mercurio, hereby appoint Jeffrey Stoll to the position of General Crew Chief for the DPW to start December 2nd, 2024 at a salary of $88,000. I'd like a roll call vote, please. Steve?
Aye.
And Ernie?
Aye.
And Grace?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So the appointment passes. Congratulations, Jeffrey Stoll. Thank you for becoming part of the team.
Definitely, I'm excited.
How's your first day going so far?
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No
It
surprises?
was a good weekend.
Yeah, good.
Storm, so everything went good.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to refer to the Planning Commission on January 7, 2025, a special use permit for Devin and Abigail Kelly at 59 Walnut Street to operate a B&B at a owner-occupied dwelling group, 2 residences on the same lot?
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second by Ernie. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. It's referred to the Planning Commission meeting for January 7. Can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for 42 North Company Brewing Company's Barrel Jam Festival, January 25th, 2025, from 1 to 5 p.m.?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? Did we get was it their insurance that had to come through? Shane, do you know?
I believe everything came through on that.
Yeah. It was their, they didn't answer the recycling plan question.
Are you going to recycle the beer?
Oh, yeah. Duh. Sorry, Fred.
Questions?
Yeah. Do you have the application
Yep.
right handy? Where's the recycling plan part? Sorry, give us a second, please.
I got nowhere to be.
Excellent. Yeah, so one of the questions is, do you have a recycling plan? Yes or no? Please describe.
We generally always have a recycling plan. So if we're talking about just cups and cans and all that kind of stuff.
I guess, yeah. Like,
Yeah, we have 4 large totes. Basically, everything we use outside goes into recycling, especially if it's plastic cups, cans, whatever else, that goes through our recycling program.
those plastic clear water cups of yours, too?
Correct.
Okay.
So that would all go into the 4 green totes that go out weekly.
Okay. So nothing will change with this event?
No, I don't anticipate using that much outside that we would. First of all, when it comes to the event, people will be buying a glass with their ticket. So all those people will not be using plastic, they'll be using a take-home glass. So they won't have to be throwing out a glass every time they're using it. They
Great.
will have to use a glass.
Perfect.
Right. The only other concern I would have is, are we all set with the alleyway being shut off? That's at the top, at Pine Street, and toward the bottom, right below Ron Jeweler, before the public lot.
Jeff and Pat, you guys want to address that question? Please.
Yeah, as far as the police department's concerned, we've done this a few years now. We've got, no concerns. The only thing that happens there is if we negate some parking, some private parking there for their special event, we do allow the folks that would normally park there to park in the village lot, and we, overlook the overnight parking just for that one day. But as far as we're concerned, we've had this a few years and we haven't had any issues.
Thanks, Pat.
Sound good? Great. Okay, so we had a motion by Steve. We had a second by Grace. Any other discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Harvey Shymansky of Shabbat Buffalo, the Grand Menorah lighting for December 29th, 2024, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ernie, second by Steve. Further discussion? Would the applicant like to say anything prior to our consideration?
No. We appreciate your time and thank you for the permit, and hopefully we'll see you all at the Menorah Lighting. I think it's on the 29th.
29th.
So,
Perfect. Thanks, Harvey.
Harvey, where is the lighting? Where does it take place?
Right in front of Bidler's.
Front of Vidler
Okay.
still? Yep.
It'll be a giant menorah, and you'll recognize the Hasidic rabbis as usually the key. That's giving you, look at that, you go, oh, they're here, okay.
How many people did you have last year?
Oh, I think 50 or 60. Half of those are the rabbis' families.
Mhm.
the way it
Good.
works. So, yeah, no, it's a good deal. We give
I think
them
I'm
prizes.
going to try to go to it this year.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, in light of the things going on out there, the crazy stuff happening with regards to,
The world.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you foresee any issues with that in Little East Aurora?
No, in fact, last year I had a disagreement with the rabbi regarding even having the ceremony due to the nature of the circumstances. He insisted, and so I did the financial part, but I didn't attend. And I think that was a mistake on my part. So, yeah, we're not concerned about that. We have law enforcement in this village that is as good as it gets anywhere, so we don't have any safety concerns whatsoever. We just don't.
Good to know.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Very good. All right, thank you, Harvey.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So moved by Ernie, second by Steve. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. Congratulations, Harvey. I get a motion to award the bid to the fire department for the award the fire department flooring bid to CA Reed Associates for $108,200.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? Tom, anything you want to throw out about this?
Unless there's questions, I don't need to
No?
have
Pretty comfortable with the opportunity?
Yes, sir.
All right, bringing it back to the board. Any other comment? Questions?
No.
Discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Can I get a motion to request that the Erie County Department of Transportation does a traffic study for the Pine and Porterville Road areas requested by the Village Safety Committee?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second?
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Pat, are you the one who actually submits that, or does Maureen, or does Shane?
We'll submit it to Maureen, or I'll submit it to the county. They're going to try to push it, fast track it, so they can implement any changes they deem necessary with this reconstruction project. So they were gracious enough to say if we hurried and got it done, they do their best to get it done while they're doing the project.
Okay. Thank you. We didn't vote on that yet, did we?
No.
All right. So it's moved by Steve, second by Ernie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I crossed it off prematurely.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve Marissa Haynes and Cole Jenkins as members of the East Aurora Fire Department?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? Aaron, anything you want to add? Is that Cole Jenkins from East Aurora High School?
Yes.
Is he? I like Cole.
Both good people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to try out with the Bills last year, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I coached,
Used to wrestle with my son.
I coached him in soccer for a million years, since he was a little guy, which is now no longer the case. All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved? Tell them we said congratulations, please. I get a motion for permission for the mayor to sign the grant award of $55,016 for tasers from New York State DCJS.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion?
Yeah, to basically, my thought process on it is it does give them an alternative to a firearm in certain situations. I know of situations, in psychiatric situations, and where horrible things have happened, where maybe someone has a knife and a gun and a knife, but a taser might be able to minimize the situation. So I think it's a nice alternative, costs us nothing, and it gives our guys a peace of mind not having to whip out the deadly weapon.
I
That's
agree.
my vote. That's why I'm voting on that.
I agree, that's a big part of it. I mean, all the other departments, most of the other departments having tasers, right? They've also been vetting it, it's not, right? So it's not like we're just starting something new, hey, let's try tasers and see if it works. If you look at the statistics for the last 10-plus years, there's very few deaths by taser. It's usually even in the occasion that it does happen, the rare occasion, very rare occasion that it does happen, somebody gets tased, maybe they fall and hit their head or they had a pre-existing heart condition. But when you put that up against, like you said, Steve, mental health issues, or you have somebody, you know, with a knife or a baseball bat, you don't want our officers in danger, but you also want to subdue the person without having to use lethal force. I think to have another tool in their tool belt is nice to have. I don't think, I think our department's going to handle it very responsibly. And we're going to be thoroughly trained, correct, Pat? Correct me if I'm wrong. Thorough training, and is there like a certification for the officers before they can use them, or how does that work?
So that's correct. So Axon Enterprise, who is the sole source for something like this, they provide on-site training. They come to us after the purchase is made and provide training to up to 4 of our officers to actually become instructors themselves. And then those 4 officers turn around and train the rest of the department on the device and what its capabilities are, and, you know, everything that goes along with it, so that they're very familiar with it. And our Article 35 annual training through the New York State, penal law gives a use of force continuum, and the officers are expected to use each tool, if we will, on their belt in that use of force continuum. The goal is to never ever have to use it, but the idea is to have the tool if the time comes when it's necessary. And as you pointed out, it is a tool that has been used by police officers and police departments and sheriff's offices across the country that's less lethal, and it's used prior to the firearm.
Yeah, I think it gives them a non-lethal option. If they don't have a taser, what is their option in a bad situation where you have a mental health a person endangering themselves or someone else or a police officer? What is their option without a taser? And that's deadly force. In a really bad situation where someone has a weapon coming after them, so this provides them with a non-lethal option versus going to their gun. And I wrestled with this too. I was actually, do they really need this? It's East Aurora. But, the more I thought about it and talked to others and just did my research, I think there's benefit to it as a non-lethal option.
Yeah, I talked to a handful of officers who agree that this is something they would like as a tool. Especially in this community, you don't want them to ever have to pull out a firearm. This gives them another option. Besides mental health, you've got drug use. You don't know how people are going to react. Someone's fighting at a bar. They don't know how they're going to react and come at them. I think this just gives them a better option to stop someone who's coming after them, or give them another option besides lethal force.
Yeah, I'd like to think it is another way to protect our officers and protect members of the public, both of them, to provide an option that they don't currently have, that's been, vetted for quite some time. All right. Any other discussion from the board? Moved by Steve, second by Grace. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. I get a motion to approve the purchase of tasers from Axon Enterprises Incorporated for $55,016.80 as the sole source.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved as well. I get a motion to approve the budget modification for fiscal year 2024-2025 fund balance.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? I get a motion to award the bid for the recreation building bathroom bump out for $257,956 to Camco General Contracting Incorporated, and permission for the mayor to sign the contract as needed for this project.
So moved.
Moved by Ernie. Second?
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion, Steve?
Hefty bill.
Yeah, that's a lot for a bump out.
So,
Well, there's a lot of plumbing.
There's a lot of plumbing, there's
a lot of
underground plumbing, there's drain, but still, that's just,
I mean, we had the DPW do the bathrooms at the football building, and they did a great job, and it saved a lot of money.
Sure.
And again, Jeff did a great job. This, I mean, we definitely need them. It's a perfect spot for them. It's a good opportunity to do it now that that lady drove into the building, and we had to do some work on the building anyway. But, can you talk about the $257,000 bill?
Yeah, it came in higher than we anticipated. However, we have used this company in the past and had good success with them. I forget what the other projects or two we used them with. And I think they want to continue doing projects with us. So I think it's a mixture of the construction going on at the new Bill Stadium and the lack of manpower around and just the cost of everything going up. That has a lot to do with it.
Would there be a benefit to waiting? I mean, is that even something we could do at this stage of the game?
I mean, you're looking at a couple years of building in Orchard Park going on, and who knows what the prices are gonna be at that point, so I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it's going down.
and then we're
Right.
looking, and we're
It
also,
might stay stagnant, but it.
we're also looking at potential tariffs that will possibly increase costs. And
Jeff, any thoughts?
Not really.
You guys have spare time to do it yourself, right?
Not right now, we don't, but I mean, we can do as much as we can. We're pretty good at the interior stuff. Yeah. That's just how much
Yeah.
stuff is nowadays. Like,
I know.
it's crazy.
DPW installing all the components on
The
the inside
fixtures.
themselves, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the building, basically?
Yeah.
The building, running the lines, running the plumbing, running the electrical? Okay. Sorry to put a monkey wrench in that, slow that vote down.
Are they doing a full foundation, or is it slab on grade? Do you know?
It's going to be slab.
Footers and slab.
Yeah.
Well, I looked at it briefly, there is some footers who go down.
And I'll say John helped us out, even though he's not officially our
Yeah,
engineer yet.
I told Maureen, I gave her some free advice, which is worth everything she knew.
So what do you think, John? You think this is,
Like I said, I can't provide, direct advice because we're
Yeah.
already got their vehicles.
Right.
Right.
And, so I looked at them my own time, and basically I just commented on the contractual. I did not do any kind of review.
Evaluations, okay.
Or anything like that, or reviewing costs or evaluations or anything. I told Maureen that it was a standard AIA contract for smaller projects. They have different contracts for larger projects and things like that. So that's what I was saying, but anybody counts. But the only reason I spoke up, I don't want to because I'm not in contract yet, but there was some footers around that.
After you get through L, I'll tell you exactly what.
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
As a resident, do you think we should wait?
I don't think prices are going down.
Yeah.
I really don't.
We're
It's a
gonna,
little bit of a sticker shock.
We're gonna
You
move
know,
on.
it doesn't
It's a-
seem
it
like
is a
much of a
sticker
building.
shock.
But I guess if it's, bathrooms, right?
It's
Three,
needed.
yeah,
It's
three stalls
needed.
on each
Well,
side.
I think the
And
community.
We
connections,
need the folks at the playground. don't have
connecting
to
with a
send their
sewer
kids
line.
need on
outside.
that side of the park.
Yeah, for sure.
but it's going to be very welcome by a lot of people with small children and grandpas like me taking their grandkids down there, and kids need to go to the bathroom. It's right there.
Yep, in plain,
So I'll
plain view, not near
appreciate
the
it.
road.
It's something that we should have had years ago.
All right. Any other discussion from the board? Moved by Ernie, second by Grace. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to grant permission for the mayor to sign the engineering agreement with Barton Logidus. Once
Laguidis.
approved.
Laguidis.
The Judas.
Lejudis. Thank you,
Lejudis.
John, who works for Barton Lejudis. Once approved by the village attorney.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Ernie. All those in, for any discussion? Further discussion?
Just so you're aware, we met with the company and Chris and Maureen and myself, and Chris and they are just working out the agreement wording. They had a copy of what they would like, and we had a copy of what we would like, and Chris is merging them, and so that's what the stipulation is for.
Gotcha.
All right, moved by Steve, second by Ernie. Any other discussion on Barton Lejudis? I'm going to say that over and over again until I have it memorized, Lejudis. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. Thanks, John. All right, no new business, old business. Let's talk about the trees and go net speed. I assume you all got a chance to read the request from Jesse from the tree board. They talk about, Jesse, how many members are there on the tree board?
7.
And how many agreed with this?
6, I believe.
6 out of the 7? They talk about, I mean, I still agree with you. I just still can't believe that we are just unable and powerless to really do anything to affect what's going to happen to the tree canopy in the village. Sorry, Chris, I'm sure you don't want me to stir the pot, but
No, you can certainly stir it in terms of contacting PSC with regard to any issues. That's okay in terms of.
well, why don't we, let's talk about, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why don't we talk about them one at a time? They have 3 requests in here, and, you look at the trees on King Street right next door here,
Oh,
and
boy.
2/3 of the trees are cut off. It's almost like, why bother?
Well, some of the trees, they should have just taken them right down. There's
Yeah.
hardly any tree left.
It's worse to leave the tree up, which is as sad as it gets.
It's hideous,
So
the
was
look of
this-
it.
I have a quick question. What's the name of the cable people? The blue.
Go net speed.
Go NetSpeed. So they're linking on to the utilities poles, and they want to expand their network, therefore the utility has the right to do it, but Blue, because of this coming into our area, is why they're doing it.
Well, NICEAG was.
Does that make sense?
NICEAG already has trimming for this area already
Scheduled?
planned.
Okay.
And starting the beginning of next year. So, one or the other.
I mean, they did it in Orchard Park. I watched them as I take a walk there every day and hacked up a lot of trees. And, they did it out in Wales, around our property out there at 78. They cut everything away, but,
So I talked to Shane, and he suggested we provide trees for people who lose their trees in this, and then have the DPW plant them farther into the yard so they're not under the lines, so this doesn't happen again. It's, I think the original thought 30, 40, 50 years ago was plant the trees along the
Street.
sidewalk, along the street. And it's a nice view for the village. It's part of our character. But the fact that we have all those lines there left us open. New York State allows utilities to maintain their poles and lines. And so they're considering this maintenance. In actuality, though, right, Go Net Speed is adding fiber to, NICEAG's poles. And because they're adding another service, right, they have to actually spread the services out from each other. That's what was explained to
Yes.
me.
Correct.
And in doing so, they have to make the poles taller to make room for everything, including now this new fiber line. And their measurements for pruning are, 10 feet all the way around? And
10, 10, 15.
15 above. So they're putting in taller poles and pruning them in the process. Now, I talked to somebody from NICEAG the other day, and he was like, we were going to prune them anyway. He's like, we're glad they're taking care of it. But I don't know, I can't imagine NICEAG was gonna come in and do this to 250 poles across the village all at once.
Yeah.
I love your idea of providing trees
Yeah,
to the residents.
I suggested to
I
the
like
mayor
that.
that the trees that are substantially trimmed to an extent that they look like they're leaning this way when they used to go like this, maybe we can look at having Jeff and his crews start taking some of those trees down if the homeowner would like one to replace it and put it
Right.
into their yard. Although I will stipulate that I just got a call from somebody on King Street who would like to take one of those trees down, but it's because they feel the roots are getting into their sewer line and making them have somebody come and
Rotor.
clean out the line every year, which is getting costly to them too, so.
Jesse, do you want to touch on this while you're here?
Yeah, I would suggest that we don't have the DPW do that removal. If we decide that there are trees that need to be removed, we get go and ask people to comment.
Going forward, I don't know if they'll go back and get the tree, but going forward, we could talk to them about doing that if you want to work with them and have them or the DPW decide if the whole tree needs to
For
come
the
down.
record, DPW has always done, I don't mean to speak for you, but they have never wanted to work on the trees that were involved in the lines.
So they can't.
We can't.
So,
They have to be, NICEAG is the only one that can, or now during this project, can cut around the power lines. Only the utilities can.
yeah, I understand that, but now you are suggesting that they would be the ones to take down the trees that are,
If they're away from the lines, they may be able to do that.
Like take out what's left?
Right.
Well, can we dictate, say, look, you guys, you butchered the heck out of it, just take the whole thing and save these guys the trouble?
Yeah, I think they would be willing to do that.
You know? I mean, and that, did the tree board also want to monitor? Was that part of it, or?
Whenever they have a question about a tree, they'll call
Yeah.
Jesse and have him come take a look.
yeah,
at
I've
it.
Steve-
spoken to Stan, the arborist who's in charge for O'Connell a number of times.
Okay.
All right, so Steve brings up a good point though, right? So if we're saying, yeah, we want the contractor to take out the trees that are being, the ones that are being decimated, are we letting them decide which ones to take out? I feel like that's not the
No,
way
we can't
wanna
let
do
them
it.
arbitrarily decide.
Right, so then,
So we would.
so do we have the DPW or someone from the tree board there to weigh in?
It might.
Right, so how does that process gonna work?
If we're doing that, I mean, we just let them go anyway. They clear cut their 15, 10, 10 anyway, with no regard to aesthetics. I mean, it's, like you said, they butchered the heck out of that on King Street.
Yeah.
But, and after meeting with them several times and with Jesse, a lot of the trees I think that they cut back that look so bad is kind of a recommendation from the arborist saying, okay, if you cut a branch here, it's gonna start dying. You gotta cut a branch at a certain
Right.
spot. So that takes the branch back farther, which makes it look worse.
Right.
But that's what's best for the tree.
Well, it sounds like we like the idea of having O'Connell take down the trees that are not worth saving, right? And then the DPW would plant the new ones. But what I'm saying is, how do we decide which tree is not worth saving that we want O'Connell to remove? If we don't want to have them do it, and I don't really want to have them decide. So, Jesse?
From our, speaking with a number of arborists, not just from O'Connell, our suggestion would be anything worse than 50% canopy gets removed.
Yeah.
That should be a candidate for a tree to be removed.
All right, so is it
That's not-
logistically possible for them to say, as they're moving down the street, right? I mean, you guys aren't standing next to them all day long,
No.
day in and day out. You've got lives and jobs, right? Can they mark a tree that they're like, this one's going to be over 50%? And they spray paint an X on it, and then at the end of the week, you guys, one of you from the tree board swings by and says, yep, no, you could save that. Yep, that should go, that should go.
Yeah.
Like, is that possible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I'm looking at the process, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
versus giving them carte blanche to remove what they think.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah, they're not taking any tree down right now without consulting with us.
Okay.
Now, I go out there and he says, okay, we have to take this, and this. What do you think? Well, no, it's not really a choice.
Right.
The ones that he's suggesting they remove, there's really no choice in the matter.
Mhm.
And what we're seeing now is that there will be some more choice involved, but that's how I would, yeah, I think your suggestion's spot on.
Okay, so who's gonna bring that to O'Connell?
I'll talk to him.
All right, so Shane will set it up, and he'll coordinate with you, Jesse, as far as
What?
who's gonna review the trees and...
That's fine.
Just to play devil's advocate, what if they say, well, we're not gonna have our crew in a whole area, move along, and then
Come back.
have to come back to remove 1 tree or 3 trees?
No, they're okay doing that.
Are they okay?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
one on Sycamore that's being taken down today.
Okay.
We looked at before Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to them.
As far as they're concerned, they have a lot of trees to go down. So if they got a delay, they gotta wait, they can come back, they don't have a problem doing that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes,
And
Ben.
it's kind of directed towards Shane. Have they said to us as a village how many dangerous trees they've located? I'm just thinking of it in terms of years of going out in windstorms, and the officers are, we've come up on humongous trees that have been taken down in the wind that are hollow inside. So I hate to be the devil's advocate, but on the public safety end of this, there was a need to get inside some of these trees and find out which ones were dangerous. So, I can tell you, I've stood out in the streets before when the trees are coming down when we get these bad windstorms, and there were a lot of unhealthy trees that, you don't know it until they're down and they're wide open at that point.
If they find an unsafe tree, they will take it down, right, Jesse? So, or they'll call somebody and have them look at it, but yeah, they won't leave an unsafe tree there that they're working on.
All right, so we got to way forward with that. As far as the tree board's requests, they have 3 that we request assistance from the Public Service Commission. They asked the village should seek guidance and support from the PSC to ensure that oversight of these projects does not fall solely on local authorities. Chris, do you have any experience with the PSC, and is there any reason why we can't ask them, see if they would like to help?
Yes and no. I have experience with them, and no, there's no reason not to ask them.
Okay,
If you'd want, I can reach out.
that'd be great.
Okay.
Please do, thank you. Jesse, any other thoughts on number 1, the PSC?
I'm afraid, I don't want us to miss anything.
No, be as thorough as possible.
I-
There's 80 levels of government above us, so.
No, I
I
agree.
don't want to miss something obvious.
I agree.
I don't want to build up your hopes, though, with the PSC, just to let you know.
But if you don't ask, you don't get kissed, right?
I don't have a whole lot of hope here.
True.
Kissed.
All right, number 2, initiate a request for environmental review. If necessary, pursue legal avenues to compel an environmental review of this project, given its scale and potential impacts. Chris, the word legal was in there, that brings...
Yeah, I know. And I did look at, in terms of seeker, and there's no provision that would prevail in this case in terms of forcing that type of full environmental review. It would be because they're classifying as maintenance and repair work, that's going to end up being a type 2 action and not really something that lends itself to following through on that in terms of a full review or any legal action against them.
You're saying legally it doesn't qualify for seeker, is what you're saying?
Yeah, 617.5C6. If they were installing lines, underground, something like that, then yes. But everything here is above ground on existing poles already. And even though they're adding to the poles, it's just, that doesn't change it.
Jesse, you want to weigh in?
The question / problem that we have with it is the scope of the project. It's not, who's the one, okay, so the first question is, who's the one that gets to decide who gets to classify it as maintenance? You said they classify it as maintenance so they can do it without triggering it.
You're suggesting the utility companies are the ones. So
they're
they're claiming their own category, so.
Yeah, but the problem is that what they're doing, how is it, they're not constructing anything, they're not burying any lines that,
Constructing taller poles,
yeah, but that, if
constructing
a,
fiber lines. Is that
No,
maintenance?
no. In adding lines onto the poles does
New
not
line.
change it. Doesn't change it.
I get replacing an existing line, but adding a new line and a new
Does-
pole. when they're-
Doesn't change it because the pole would be considered maintenance as long as they're replacing
They're changing the
pole.
size. They're
Yeah,
changing.
I
They're
understand.
changing the structure.
They're making it taller.
So
I
let's
can't-
throw
So it's
a
different.
hypothetical out there. Let's say they decide.
It adds 15.
Please.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Let me throw a quick hypothetical out there. Let's say, for example, that NICEAG decided that for maintenance purposes, they want to paint every single pole brass and pearl. Are we just gonna shrug our shoulders and say, okay, I guess that's what you got to do?
And I guess the question is, who decides,
Yeah,
right?
who's
To
the
your
one
first
that-
question,
They did,
who decides it's
you
maintenance?
know, there are hundreds of poles in this village that are covered in creosote that is no longer legal to use. When they take those poles out, they have to take them to specialized landfills or incineration facilities. They cannot use those for any other purpose. This is, you know, who's deciding that this is maintenance and what qualifies as something that's important enough? Like if they were going to decide they need to paint creosote on these poles to make them last long.
Well, they can't do something which is otherwise illegal.
Well, let's
The Creos,
let's go back to the original question. Jesse, the original question, who decides it's maintenance? Can NICEAG just say, we're doing this project and we're calling it maintenance, which means we don't have to answer to anybody? Or is there some higher power or third party who can, or can you challenge the fact that it's considered maintenance?
you can certainly ask PSC that type of question, or you can litigate it in court.
Can you look to see if there's been any experience with anyone litigating that in court successfully or
That's why I
unsuccessfully?
came up with the type 2 discussion and the repair of the maintenance.
617-5C6?
Yes.
All right, so for the board, are we okay with Chris going to the PSC to see what else is
Yes.
possible?
Yes.
And I left a message for NICOM's lawyers. I haven't heard back from them yet, the New York Conference of Mayors, just to see if they have anything to say. Legally, is there anything else that you can do to see if there's any options we have as far as who decides it's maintenance versus?
Well, that's
not?
where we'll see if there are any
That's
other cases out there, but everything we've seen thus far indicates that it's maintenance and repairs, even replacement of lines or adding lines.
All right, anything else from the board on 2? And 3, request a temporary work slowdown. Formally request a CONET speed and NICEAG reduce the pace of their operations while the above measures are undertaken to ensure compliance and mitigate further harm. I don't see any downside to us requesting that they do a slowdown. We can't dictate it,
All I
correct?
can say is no,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with asking.
again, nothing wrong with asking. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
All right. So who does that? Is that Shane or is that you?
I can do that.
That's right.
Please let us know. Thank you, Shane.
So Chris, to go back to that maintenance versus expansion is what I would call it, because you're putting a larger pole in that has more product on it. So that's like the train people saying, I'm going to put a track right here next to this one because I already got one and I can. You're going to put 2 tracks there and that's maintenance
That's
too?
different.
Well, it's a new pole, it's adding new,
In the same location.
What if they want the pole 40 feet higher? Is that
so
covered?
you can double decker a track, train track if they can do it right on?
If they
On
put
top
in,
of one
if
of
the
them?
new subdivision goes in and they have to supply more electricity to that subdivision through neighborhoods going to that subdivision, they have to put more power lines on those poles to make the poles higher. So that would be a similar situation.
That's a good example.
Um,
You know we're not blaming you for this, Chris.
No, thank you. I will see what I can come up with.
Yeah, we're just frustrated at the situation we're in.
You
trying to
have
figure
not
out.
been the only municipality that is frustrated with the utility companies. But unfortunately, they have very strong control in terms of doing things and what they're allowed to do. Good lobbying group.
Yeah.
Well,
But yet,
just-
they don't maintain the lines behind my house on the right of way.
Yeah, you're right.
That all those lines are
They're probably
power
tripping like
lines
this.
that power Main Street. Across the street from the old village hall, those come off of the behind my house. There's a right of way, and there's just a jumble of box elders going this way, that way, leaning on the wires. And I've asked them, I call them, hey, you guys want to cut those back because those box elders are gonna come down and you're gonna rip the lines down. Oh, no, we can't. It's not. We don't want to bother people. This is what they told me. People get upset when we cut their trees. I said, these are box elders that are weed trees that are like literally leaning on the lines, and they won't do it. So, but yet they're so aggressive in the cutting of the trees on the street, but they won't.
That's
not
because
deal
they
with
added new products and
the
they're making
jungle
more
behind the
revenue,
house.
so it's
That's
okay.
right, they're not making any new money cutting down your box
I
elders.
would actually
Products we
welcome
don't
them to
need.
cut down the box elders because I get more light for my tomato plants, you know.
And that's in your backyard?
It's in my backyard. It's
So they
behind
have
Molly
easement
Zittle,
to go through there, right?
directly behind Molly Zittle's, the bright yellow house. There's a right-of-way that goes behind Charlie's Diner, the parking lot behind Charlie's and Bruce's, all the way down the street to where the middle school, and all the way out to Whaley. It supplies power for that on the Main Street, but yet it's a complete mess.
So easement,
And telephone.
so
landline.
easement-wise, do they have to show their easements? Can they just come in?
They can come in and do it. They've done it.
They just do
We've
it?
had storms, years ago, in the 70s when I was a kid, I remember them coming in and trimming away the stuff. I remember my parents, back there talking to them, but they've done it. But they generally won't mess with the trees unless the tree falls down and pulls down the pole, which has happened. And then they'll just do a very basic, just a little bit, just enough to get the pole and get the wires back. But then they'll leave all this stuff, all these.
So I had a bit of a different experience on Warren. My parents live across from that little park right there, and they have lines running behind their house, kind of over the creek, between Warren and East Fillmore. And they came out with their equipment and drove right onto the properties and started clearing everything away from the lines. And the neighbor had a fenced-in yard, and he was like, "No, I'm not letting you in." And he didn't. They couldn't get to it. That was it. Like, he didn't let them into their property, into his property, and that was it. So, with my parents' property, they're like, "Can you kind of go easy on that pine tree? That's the one right over our deck that gives us shade, and we like it." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do what we can." And they were actually pretty good about it. They only cut around away from the line. They didn't hack it up like they did some of the other trees. Didn't chop too much off. So they were kind of accommodating. When asked, nice. So, right, there's two different experiences right there. Somebody who didn't let them on the property at all. Now, what would they do eventually? I mean, most of these are, right, most of these are on the street. So it's not like people can limit the utility's access to them. But ultimately, can the utility just get the sheriff and show up and say, "We're coming on"?
Well, technically, if they have an easement, let's start with that one. If they have an easement, then the subservient property has got to allow them access onto their easement. If they don't, then they can commence legal, I have one of these cases, commence legal action against them for not allowing them access to their property, to their easement, which is their right to be able to use that land.
That's if they don't have an easement?
If they don't have an easement, then they're pretty much SOL. You
Yeah,
can't
why
get
is-
onto the property, but how
is the
why
pole
would they
there?
put right, how did they get there in the first place?
And
See, the
if you-
easements are usually created when they create the street or whatever, and they allow it to go in, because people aren't thinking about what happens 20 or 30, 40 years down the road.
Right. So can people say, "Let me see your easement," like a warrant? Like, "Let me see your easement"? Okay, I guess you can be here.
Well, they should have it on their own deed.
On the
Yeah.
deed.
On their own property, they should have the easements listed.
So they would have to go
Any
check.
survey, yeah.
Then they say, "Hold up, I'm gonna go check and see if, I'm gonna check my search and survey and see if there's an easement on there for you."
And good luck finding most of their searches and surveys. People
Right.
put it in the shoebox in the back of the closet in the third bedroom that they haven't used in 6 years.
All right. So the board's okay with Chris proceeding to request assistance from the Public Service Commission?
Yes.
And he's going to look into the fact that, to see if there's any opportunity for any sort of environmental review from said group, said commission. And then Shane is going to request a temporary work slowdown from GoNet Speed and NICEAG formally to see if we can mitigate further harm while we work our way through this. Trustees, okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, I just don't like the feeling of helplessness, like, I have people
Right.
talk to me and I'm like, it's kind of a, the public, the commission, it's the, that they can do it, da. I just don't like that, that we don't have more control over this in our own village. It's really, it bothers me a lot. And then to drive down King Street and see those trees. I had a similar, I was in a similar state of mind when they trimmed back Hamburg Street. Remember when they did that a few years ago? That was a shocker. It's just, it's an awful feeling for us to sit here and say, well, really, we just don't have it. Our hands are kind of tied. It's just awkward.
Well, let's
Don't
make
like
sure
it.
we're doing everything we can
Well,
possibly
yeah, we
do,
have to, but
right?
it's very difficult, and the public, for the public to hear us say that, and I get it, that we don't have the ability to say, no, you're not doing that. You go tread lightly on those trees, and we have to sit here and watch this happen, and I want them to slow down. I'd like to see them stop the trimming until we get our answers and just resume when we have an answer. When we could actually, slow it down or just stop it before any more damage is done. It's just horrible.
Well, I've been on this board for 20 years, and every decision I make, I look at how it's going to affect the village character, right? How do I preserve the village character? And I know these trustees take that to heart as well in every decision we make on all sorts of developments, on all sorts of building, all sorts of projects. How do we maintain East Aurora's village character, our charm, the appeal that we have, right? One of the things that makes East Aurora great. And so this is going to affect it significantly. And I think we have to make sure we leave no stone unturned.
I love the
What
trees.
happens?
I grew up, I walked past trees I walked past as a child. They're my friends, and I just hate to see them chopped apart, and it's disheartening, and and you're right, it's a big part of what's nice about East Aurora versus a lot of places that don't have the tree cover that we do, that we're so active in trying to plant trees and maintain our tree canopy, and then to have this happen. It's pretty horrific, and it's hard to take. And so I just would like the public to understand that we feel as badly as you do about what's happened. And we're doing our best to try to mitigate the situation.
All right, we're ready to move on to speakers and communications 2. Anybody have anything to say on any topic? Raise your hand. Kurt? Nope. Shelby? Kurt's going to defer. Or Shelby's going to defer.
Michelle.
Thank you for your comments on the tasers. And with regard to the tree discussion, every time I drive down Linden, okay, which is somewhat of a unique street because you got 3 blocks of median, okay, and the power lines go right down that median. And it's a very treed street, and perhaps you can say, hey, at least we're not going to affect the trees on the north side of Linden or the south side of Linden. All the damage will be right down the middle on that median, which I presume, I don't know, okay, that's village-owned property. And I'm just asking if any consideration has been given, or is there any forecast for what will happen to the trees on Linden, which I would copy Ernie's discussion of very enmeshed. Yeah, the lines are very enmeshed in the tree branches, so.
Thank you, Kurt.
There are a lot of smaller trees, the vast majority of the median that will have to be trimmed at the top, I believe. There are a few bigger ones down towards Linden. I don't know if Jesse's looked at them yet. I don't know if there are plans yet to get down there, but.
Maybe I've misunderstood. I am talking about the median of Linden itself.
Yeah, there are a few trees there. that,
Yeah.
Given their, I haven't, I'm trying to think, in some cases, the trimming won't be as bad because some of the poles are already tall there.
Yeah.
They're already new, relatively recent poles. Which makes me wonder why didn't those trees really get trimmed back when they put those poles in? This is a nice egg-driven problem in the end. But yeah, there will be some damage to the window. It's gonna, hopefully not as bad as King Street. But no problems at this point.
Shelby, did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I would say, as Kurt said, I appreciate everything that has been said, particularly by Ernie Scher. This village board isn't doing nothing about it. They're doing something about it, but as he said, your hands are a little bit tied. On the other hand, how public have you gone, I mean, this made the news, Channel 7, and it was kind of a bleak little piece. It was very bleak. And yet, I'm sure anybody who has ever visited here was mourning for us, why that community? So I would just urge you to wait, see if you can get a slowdown, see if you can make a fuss, because I think if more of the community understood what you've already dealt with, and perhaps they haven't read the pieces in the paper, then they would all be a little more up in arms. So a few of us are here, but there's always just a few of us here. And yet people's property values are at stake, and their memories and their children's lives. And, there's an environmental impact for sure. So, there are technical problems, but this particular project puts us way back, and it's not in tune with the times. And if it costs so much more money to do things, bury things underground, and that's not cost effective, I think we could all buy that. But I don't think this is a time to just say our hands are tied. And I know you weren't encouraging us to do that. So, it's not just aesthetic, it is environmental. And that's really what I wanted to leave you with. Thanks for what you're trying to do. And another thing on the poles. In some communities, you know how they wrap yarn around trees and they do lots of environmental statements? Well, if a lot of these trees go down, there may be other environmental statements made, and that wouldn't be so pretty either. I'm not threatening it, I'm just saying. Artist types, people that, look at the world differently maybe than we all do, might be really frustrated by what has befallen the community. So, thanks.
Thank you, Shelby. Speakers and communications, anyone else?
Ernie, thanks for your kind, passionate words there. It means a lot to hear. I think my main goal here isn't to stop NYSEG or a NYSEG contractor from maintaining their poles. I'm trying to thread a needle here. It's kind of hard. We need electricity. We'd like to have faster internet. We'd also like to have the trees. It's a difficult thing to do. One of the goals that I wanted to emphasize in asking for sort of an environmental review is that it doesn't feel like there's been any kind of cost-benefit analysis to different alternatives. We mentioned burying the lines. All we ever hear is, oh, it's going to cost too much. How much? Is it double the cost? Maybe that's something we can work with. Is it 10 times, 100 times? I don't have any idea. I'd like to know. They're not just maintaining, one section behind Ernie's house. they're going to maintain the entire village in one stamp, one fell swoop. That's what we're worried about, I think. I don't think anybody is trying to prevent electric line maintenance at all. Well, okay, there may be some people who don't want us to touch any tree ever, but there are plenty of cases where we can see, you know, the old glass, there are some still out there with the old glass insulators on the top, where they're being bent out of shape by tree limbs pulling the primary line down. You know, why has NICEAG let that go for decades? You know, it's a question for another time. But I think what we'd like to just see is what's the cost benefit for doing all of this in one fell swoop? So, thanks again, guys.
Thank you, Jesse, and we appreciate everything you and the tree board are doing. All right, anyone else speaks in communications before we close it up? All right, thank you. Department head report. Pat?
Over at the police department, we had our turkey trot Thanksgiving morning. I was told about 800 runners participated this year. Had some extra officers on the holiday, some help from the fire police, crossing guards, and everything went very well there. It was a well attended event and everything went smoothly. As far as the police department goes, there's been an increase in DWI arrests lately that I've noticed. I think it's just maybe, you know, we have utilized some funding from the Erie County Stop DWI program, so we've been pushing that a little bit harder with that funding, just extra manning, and that's about all I have right now.
Thank you, Pat. Jeff?
Yeah, obviously this weekend the guys were busy with the snowstorm. The plows probably went around 12 to 14 times within the 2 days. Sidewalk plow went out 4 times. Everything went smooth, no breakdowns. This week we'll be concentrating on snow removal on Main Street so people can get out of their cars. That's it.
Thank you, Jeff. Aaron and Tom had to go. I assume they had a call. Rich?
I don't have anything to offer tonight.
You good right now? Thanks, Rich. Shane?
Just the chief and I attended a meeting at the Erie County Department of Public Works regarding the reconstruction of Pine Street. And we have their schedule. The work's going to begin April 7th that week. And if they're on schedule, it looks like they will wrap it up by the end of May. So hopefully they can take a look at your request to do a traffic study for Pine and Girdle, or Pine and Porterville rather, and see if they recommend any changes to that, and they'll get that done within that scope if they deem it necessary, so for safety. And that's it.
The whole reconstruction between April and May?
Yep. Yeah, they look to be full cut into the road to the sidewalks the second week of May, and then have that all wrapped up and paved, signs and topsoil and seeding done by the last week of May. Yeah.
Was that manpower, the number of employees that are going to be on site working on the project at any given time?
I believe it is, yeah.
Anything else for Shane?
And just so everybody knows, if I didn't tell them already, there will be traffic all the time on Pine Street. It'll be limited and directed, but there should not be a time where it's completely shut for any major time limit.
Yeah, because
So
there was a
residencies,
concern
Fillmore?
with Fillmore,
Yeah.
yeah. Which I think they're.
Gracie
working
brought
on
that
that.
up
Fillmore,
originally.
Fillmore, Pine Street Extension, they will all have access. They're aware of the DPW and residents on both streets that don't have another avenue out, and we'll keep it open. Might not be pretty, but it'll be open.
All right. Grace?
What's that?
Good. Ernie?
All set.
Steve?
All set.
All right. Quickly, a few things. Thank you to the DPW for keeping up on the snow. I saw that sidewalk plow going. I saw the regular plows going all weekend. Appreciate you guys being able to handle whatever nature's throwing at us. Nicely done. Also, I had gotten a mailer from Hazman about the collection for hazardous materials. I guess my question for you, Jeff, is do you guys get notified of that? Because I got the mailer maybe 10 days ago, Friday, before Thanksgiving week. I went on the site and registered, and then December 2nd, today was the pickup. I mean, it was only 10 days. I asked Shane to put it on the website and let village residents know. By the time the guy came to my house, he said they had 355 pickup requests. So do we know, did they mail it to everybody in the village? Or are they partnering with the DPW or at least notifying you guys, or is it just,
I haven't heard anything. I'd have to ask Christine. Today was my first time getting the mail,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I'll look into it.
yeah. I mean, I didn't talk to anybody.
Was it as far as picking up like paint and like?
Yeah, up to 50 pounds of hazardous materials, and there was a list of what's included and not allowed and what they charge extra for.
Okay.
Because I wondered about their business model, right? So I assume anybody who puts anything out over $50, it says you can pay with a credit card or Venmo right there at the point of collection.
Gotcha.
And if you have certain things on their list that aren't standard, you had to pay extra for those items as well. So I assume that that's how they're making their money, including whatever they're able to recycle or.
And just so
repurpose.
everybody's aware, you can take 50 pounds a year to them at their location up in the North Towns also.
So that's the thing is, I brought 3 things up there to Tonawanda, and they charged me $65, and it was a car battery, and maybe 2 gallons of like alcohol, like ethyl alcohol.
Are they
They charged me
considered like
$65.
a vendor? Like, is it a
If
vendor
Erie
permit, or is
County
it-
has a program with them, if you go on the website, you can sign up. Did you do that? Did you sign up for the appointment? And
Yeah, and then I brought it in.
yeah, my wife took a carload of stuff up there and they didn't charge her.
They didn't charge her anything?
Should have had my wife take.
I wonder if I said the appointment that one. This time when they came to the house, they just picked up
Right.
the old cans of paint I had for free, and it was great. Yeah. But when I brought it to them, so you think because I didn't make the appointment, maybe? I don't
Yeah.
remember now. I really don't remember.
Yeah, you have to go on their website, make an appointment.
You just
They'll
walk
give you
in,
a
they charge
time.
you?
They'll give you a time, and as long as it's all registered under the program with Erie County, the first 50 pounds of what they take is free.
I thought with 355 people who signed up on the website, that means at least that many got the mailers. Grace, Ernie, Steve, do you guys remember getting the mailer
I got it.
2 weeks ago? Did you?
My wife checks
No.
the mail, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah, I wonder
It
if
could
they
be
sent
like-
it to everybody, right? Well, I just thought maybe there's a better way to partner with our DPW and get the word out better versus us
Yeah.
just happen to notice a mailer 8 days in advance and putting it on the village site real quick and hoping all the residents check it, you know what I mean?
So there's 350 East Aurorians?
It was just the village.
Yeah, just in the
Oh, really?
village. Yeah. So Jeff, do you think you could reach out to Hazman and at least open line of communication to make sure we coordinate the next time they're gonna do something?
Yeah, definitely.
We could get the word out and tell them that, right? Tell them we should be able to get a lot more,
Kinda like the electronics pickup.
people involved.
We did.
Yeah, they do the electronics that we partner with them, right? So why not for their hazardous materials? Right, if they somehow can make money doing it, why don't we take advantage of it better and make sure all the residents can take advantage of it, I guess is my thought. That sound good, Jeff?
Yep.
Thank you. And last, I had the local Girl Scout sent a couple teams out. We met at the DPW hall. Jeff was nice enough to get everything set up for us, all the extension cables and tables, lights, heater, big propane heater, because it was pretty cold. And we spent a Saturday there doing the wreaths and garland. And so thanks to the Girl Scouts for that. And then the DPW hung everything. Really appreciate you guys getting everything up so fast before the Thanksgiving break, and the snow fell, so that was perfect. Nicely done.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. It is 8:12. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight.